Thank you for tuning back into the Walk On podcast. This is episode 6, and today we have another very special guest with us. This is someone who has paved his own way in the sports journalism area in the greater Sacramento area and just keeps growing beyond that. We have our man Cameron Salerno with us today. Appreciate you being on here with us, man.
I'm real excited to join because I know I'm not an athlete, but I have connections to athletes. So I think I kind of qualify, but yeah, I'm fired up. I've known Tommy since 2019. We met because of sports journalism. And yeah, Tommy's been my guy ever since then. So friend of Tommy's a friend of mine. So yeah.
Let's do it, man. The first non-athlete on the pod.
Yeah.
Breaking ground.
I feel pretty honored.
First of many.
Yeah. No, and I mean, we're going to let you kind of touch on it and kind of roll with what your story is and everything, but you really do embody kind of what we talk about on here with the walk-on mindset and, you know, someone that takes what they're given and runs with it and makes the most out of their opportunities. So, I mean, with that being said, if you kind of want to give us a rundown how you started, what your mindset and everything was, and we'll go from there.
Sure. And I was telling Tommy this last night. I feel like I do embody somewhat of a walk-on mentality just because of the journey I've had. So when I was in high school, I went to Wood Creek High School. When I was 15 years old, I was lucky enough to get an internship at the Roseau Tribune, which is a small paper here in Roseau, California, for people who are not familiar with the area, just outside Sacramento. And so I was lucky enough to get that opportunity because a lot of issues with the industries in this day and age is you need experience to get a job. And if you don't have experience, you're not going to get a job. So I kind of lucked out in that department where I was lucky enough to get an internship. And so I was there for 2 years. And it was a blast. I was not paid, and that kind of sucked, but I was lucky enough when I was in high school that I had my parents financially supporting me, and it kind of made life a little easier. I got experience, and then Stephen Wilson, who was my boss at the Roseau Press Tribune, left, and I was kind of at crossroads where what was I going to do? I mean, obviously the first person who gave me a chance in journalism is gone. He's not in the journalism industry anymore. He obviously can help me out and give me recommendations, but that can only go so far. So I think I've told people this, but you guys will get a good laugh out of this. So when I was doing journalism, my parents were like, you got to get a job. Like I'd worked for the city of Roseville. I did some youth officiating for soccer, like for my first 2 jobs. Wasn't making a ton of money, but I didn't really need to. I mean, I didn't have a girlfriend at the time, so I just, I didn't have to spend a lot of money. I had gas, and gas was like $3. I could drive around for 2 weeks now and get gas. So
good days.
Now it's like I got to get gas at least once a week, or else I'm not going to make it. And so I started applying to jobs, and I applied to McDonald's. I remember I told my dad, I was like, yeah, I applied to McDonald's just to hopefully get them off my back as far as, hey, there's no jobs out there. I could just chill at home for the summer. He's like, no, you're getting a job. You're going there. Like, go get that interview. And so I got hired on the spot, which like at McDonald's is a bad thing because, they hire everybody. But so I worked there for 6 or 7 months, which was hell. I mean, it sucked. I hated every single day, but it also taught me like, hey, I really want to go into sports journalism. So I really took a leap of faith, and I left there, which my parents weren't too happy about because, I mean, I wasn't making like generational money, but I had a paycheck every week, which, is nice when you're 17 years old and you want to go out with your friends. I mean, it's senior year of high school. And so when I quit there, it was December of 2017. I started freelancing for the same papers I worked at when I was an intern. And so I did that for about 2 or so years. And I was finally getting paid for the work I was doing. It was real cool just because I'd worked so hard. I'd put hours and hours of work, and I was finally getting paid. And so that was rewarding. But there's a point in 2019, February 2019. I remember I was in Idaho with my girlfriend, and I was just thinking, I was like, I can do a lot more than what I'm doing. As a freelancer, for people who don't know, you pretty much work for the paper, but it's not a constant flow of assignments and money pretty much. So there's some weeks where you'll get 2 assignments, and there's some weeks you'll get 0. And so I knew I could use my social media as a platform. I had about 1,000 followers on Twitter, which, it's not a lot, but it's a decent following at the time. And so I really started tweeting a lot. I started tweeting about Sacramento and Elk Grove and the Bay Area, and I started getting noticed, gained a few thousand followers, and then it kind of got me noticed by the Sacramento Bee, where Joe Davidson kind of took me under his wing. And he told me, hey, like, we want to give you an internship here. We can work with you. We can mentor you. And so that's where I've been for the last 3 years, which it's been a good experience. I've had a chance to cover the Sacramento Kings, the San Francisco 49ers. And then I also just got an opportunity a few weeks ago with the Associated Press where I've covered the Giants already. I've covered the Oakland A's. And now I'll be covering the Sacramento Kings, not full time, but I'll be covering all their home games at the start of the season. So my journey has been really unique. I'm really lucky to have a huge set of supporters in my corner who've been with me and supported me through this whole journey. And I just think making connections in any industry, whether you're in sports journalism or you're an athlete, if you can make connections, get to know people, you're going to really succeed. So I've had a really cool opportunity to talk to a lot of cool people in my time as a journalist.
Man, that was I mean, I know I learned a lot right there. Tommy probably knew a little bit more than me because
Tommy's been with me for this whole journey, so he knows.
I was actually I want you to bring up, I think it would have been 2019. I think it was my junior year. So obviously you weren't really getting paid. I specifically remember you making an insane list of like every committed kid to a college. And I remember talking to you and you were like, dude, I'm not even getting paid for this. And I'm listing like 500 kids. I have to find out where they're going to school. I have to like reach out to them. And I literally didn't get a dime for this. Like that to me was like, this guy's going to go places solely because of things like that. Like that was crazy. That was really eye-opening to me.
Wow. I just remembered that when I did that. And like back at the time when I got like over 100 likes on Twitter, I'd be over the moon. I'd be like, okay, this tweet did good. And I think it got like 200 likes and I was so ecstatic. I was like, okay, I'm going somewhere. Like people like this stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was a really cool experience. And there was a lot of times where I didn't really get a lot of sleep a lot of days when I was working for free. I mean, I was writing stories on my computer and post them on Twitter, taking a screenshot, not even like published anywhere, just literally post on Twitter. And I spent hours doing that. And it definitely paid off because it got me noticed for sure.
You, how often did you tweet about Tommy back in the day?
Well, okay, you can go back and check the receipts on my Cameron Salerno media page, on my Instagram page. That has.
I think I was like the first post.
You were one of the first posts.
Yeah.
I remember. I think you're probably the third post. If I go back and scroll right now, I think you're probably the third post.
Well, Cam pulled up to the Oak Ridge at Del Oro game, and I think I had like 7 threes. It was just a crazy time. And then the week later was when Idaho State came around. So I was like, Cam better be showing me some love.
Well,
like,
I remember I posted that on a flight back from Idaho when I was visiting my girlfriend. And I'm scrolling down. I'm really looking at the page right now. I want to make sure because I'm pretty sure I think you were the second or third post on there.
I do remember when you made the page. I'm pretty sure I was up there as well.
Well, what sucked about that, so like on Cameron Salerno Media is my Instagram page where it's solely dedicated to media. I mean, I have my personal Instagram page and I was posting a lot on there, but I think a lot of people got tired of it, which I get it. Like, but so I made a page and I made it literally the worst time. I made it in February 2020, like weeks before the world shut down because of COVID. And so that really sucked because I felt like I was gaining a little traction and then it just came to a halt and I didn't use that account for months. I remember I posted on it like once I lost like 20 followers. I was like, yeah, this account's dead. But then last season during high school season, that's when it really started to blow up and it got a lot of followers and yeah, it really got me noticed. I'm still scrolling, so I'm gonna find it.
There's a lot of posts on there.
It's like
That's pretty
funny. Yeah, Tommy, you're the second post. You're the second post on my page. Look,
yep.
If you look,
that's big time.
You're the second post on the page.
Yeah, it's a great action shot right there.
Yeah, all 145 pounds of me.
If that.
Yeah, probably stretching it as well. Cameron's parents are the GOATs, for those who do not know. They took, I think it was probably your mom that took that picture of me. I have so many, all my photos from my senior year are from your mom and nobody else.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough where I get to work with both of them because they're both sports photographers, so they'll come with me to games when I'm doing high school stuff, and it's really cool because I mean I've gotten close with both of them just because of it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun for sure.
Shout out to Lennox Pictures. I hope they're listening.
I think my mom's like in the next room, so she probably heard it. So.
Amazing.
I remember. So obviously, I graduated before you kind of had your kickoff and like really gained momentum. But I remember we talked about this on Will's episode when me and Will were playing each other in Flagstaff, and that was 2 years ago. Lance, who was our beat writer for NAU
Yeah,
basketball,
I
tweeted
remember
like,
Lance.
yeah, he tweeted something like, "Oh, we got two Folsom guys that went to high school together, Will and Luke, guarding each other. I'm sure at Cameron Salerno is enjoying this." And like, I had seen your name in media, kind of like on Twitter, just because obviously being Sac area. But I was like, he's really like, he's made it out here. Like, people know him, and like, this is all the way in Big Sky country. So that was pretty dope to see.
I have a pretty cool story that just kind of reminded me of it. So, I was in Newport Beach for the 4th of July, which was 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I don't know, something like that. So I went to a bar there because I'm over 21. Tommy's not. I think Tommy's the only one. So Tommy can't get in yet.
Yeah.
So I saw this guy wearing this really cool jersey, and it was like a throwback high school jersey. I forget what jersey it was, but it was really cool. And so I went up to him and was like, "Yo, that's a sick jersey. Like, that's really cool." And he's like, "Oh, thanks, man." And then, like, about an hour or two later, he saw me again. He comes up to me. He's like, "Are you Cameron?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like I didn't introduce myself, and I said what's up to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, like I know who you are. I went to Granite Bay. Like, I remember you covering me in high school." And so it was just really funny, like, to have that sort of experience. So yeah, it's pretty surreal. Like, I mean, as media, like, you don't want to be known in some ways, because if you're known, it's probably for bad reasons and not good. But it was pretty cool having that experience of, someone knew me from
I
outside.
mean, I know, just speaking for myself, like, obviously Oak Ridge didn't get covered a lot because we
weren't very good.
Yeah. Anyway, but it was just cool, like, having someone besides Joe Davidson who would like tweet, and like, no shade to Joe Davidson, but you were tweeting so much more than anybody else that was covering the SACB, and you were covering multiple games every game. And it was just like, I don't know, I'm sure other kids in the basketball, like, all, and you weren't covering just basketball, you're covering football, volleyball, like, I don't know. I just feel like for high school that doesn't happen very often, and so that was like a really cool thing for Sacramento, and I'm sure they're still loving it.
Well, and it's also too, it's about developing relationships with people too, because when you first start out, not a lot of people know who you are, and that goes players, coaches, parents. You're pretty unknown. But as you start working, and you have to really grind. I know, like I said earlier, I feel like I embody walk on because I had that mentality of that chip on my shoulder where, a lot of people didn't know who I was, so I had to make them know for a good reason. And so I would just try to tweet as much as I could to get my name out there. And it really paid off, because once you get to a point where you don't have to go to those people anymore, like, they come to you and they tell you stuff, or they give you information. And before, it's like you have to go to them. And so I think that's what's really changed for me the last few years. And I still work hard, but I have really good relationships with a lot of people where people will come to me now. And I think that's really cool.
That's huge.
Yeah, definitely.
I was gonna say Jared definitely. I think he probably relates to that. I mean, I might be speaking too much, but I mean, I'm sure I know people that either know me or Tommy, or people that other people, obviously Keys, DJ, people that have been under Jared's wing. Like, people are gonna go to him, try to get the same results. So like you said, like, if you make it to a certain point, then people are gonna want to follow that same path.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think the big thing is just building those relationships where the trust is there. So when you have that trust, whether you're a journalist or like a trainer or whatever, like, those relationships will like bear fruit on their own just because of the trust level.
Well, and Jared, just to add to that real quick, like, this goes for trainers, this goes for journalists. I think this goes for almost anything. If I have a good interaction with you, and you're going to tell people, I mean, because people talk, and then those people know that, hey, this person's a good guy, this person can be trusted. I mean, it goes for journalism, it goes for training, and they spread and they talk to people. So, I mean, it could be a really good thing, or it could be a really bad thing, because you might have a really bad experience with someone and they might tell people, and then you don't get trusted by those people, because the world is very, very small and everyone knows everyone. So the more good things you do, the better. And the more bad things you do, the worse it will be off.
100%. What, Cameron, what made you decide to pursue a career in journalism in the first place?
I've always loved sports, and I knew one day I wanted to be in it. I grew up watching Dick Vitale on ESPN. I mean, watching those college basketball games, and and hearing those games. I mean, just watch. I mean, I think college basketball is probably the first sport I really got into. I mean, besides professional sports. I mean, I grew up a huge Kings fan when I was really young, and I'd watch all the games. Mike Bibby was my favorite player, and I'd wear my Mike Bibby jersey all around. And when he got traded to the Hawks,
I love it.
When Mike Bibby got traded to the Hawks, it was one of the saddest things of my life.
I don't want to cut you off, Cam, but please tell me you watched the Will episode and Luke's pick for Mike Bibby as the Clutch's point guard.
Oh my gosh, that's yeah. No, I love Mike Bibby, man. Like so it's funny. I tell people my cat's named after him. He's not, but my cat's name is Mr. Bibbs, and he wears my old Mike Bibby jersey from when I was a kid. So whenever the Kings play, he's always in it. So
damn, how big a cat you got?
He's a big boy. Yeah, he's a big cat. So yeah,
this is just big for Luke. This is so huge for Luke.
I love Mike Bibby, man. Like he just like.
This is sick.
Hey, no, yeah, keep going. They're hating this. Keep going.
Here's the thing. I know we're not talking like my favorite players are the most random favorite players. So I'll just tell you, like, so my favorite players: Mike Bibby, Allen Iverson, Dwight Howard. Like those three, and Jimmer Fredette. Like those are my 4 or 5 of my favorite players.
Jimmer Fredette.
Oh, I have a story about
all over the place.
Jimmer Fredette is out of left field.
So I have a story about Jimmer. So back when he was a rookie, when the Kings drafted him, I think it was in 2011. He played a home game against the Magic because we have a lot of family friends in Orlando. So like I like both those teams, and because obviously Dwight Howard is my favorite player. And so we went to those games, and Jimmer Fredette, like I wanted the Kings to draft Jimmer Fredette. Like I know people say it's a horrible pick. Yeah, it was, but Jimmer Fredette was like I love watching him at BYU. He was so electric. That's when college basketball I think was so fun to watch. So
Luke wants to play. He wants that green light that Fredette had.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're leaving the stadium. It's me and my mom. And we're walking out to like the tunnel. I don't know if you guys remember Arco Arena, like where the players came out. Like we have like a little parking garage.
Of course.
And so like we sat there, like I was just waited there for Jimmer because that's who I wanted to meet. Like he was my favorite player. And this older couple comes up to us, and because I was wearing Jimmer Fredette jersey. And they're like, hey, like I just want to let you know, like Jimmer and the team left for Portland. If you give us your address, we'll send you a signed picture. And we're like, dude, these people are so random. Like, we're not gonna give us our address, but we had like a PO box at the time. So like, we'll give them that. Like, you know, they're not gonna know our home address. And so we give them the PO box. And I kid you not, like 2 weeks later, I get this letter, huge letter in the mail. And it's from Jimmer Fredette's mom. And it's a signed picture and a letter from them saying like, thanks for being a fan, like blah, blah, blah. And to this day, I know Jimmer Fredette's family. Their family sent me a graduation gift when I graduated high school. I actually ran into Jimmer and met him when he came back for the California Classic in 2019. We're friends with each other on Facebook. So yeah, that's how I kind of know Jimmer. That's like my untold Jimmer Fredette story.
I mean, that's elite story.
Yeah, that's some wholesome content right there.
Yeah, there we go. Right for Tommy's heart right there.
Yeah, and so
I can't say I was a big Jimmer guy, Jared. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Of course you were.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say here lie. I was not like.
Yeah, on multiple levels, you didn't have a choice.
I didn't buy into the hype.
My girlfriend jokes me that I need to redo my room because I don't know if you can see this, but I have 2 pictures up there. If you can see in the back, it's of Larry Bird and Kevin Durant. So it's like, oh, actually, no, sorry, it's
great contrast.
It's Dwight. Sorry, it's Dwight Howard and Larry Bird. My bad.
Even greater contrast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I met Dwight Howard too. When I that's a whole nother story. So
Cam's just meeting everyone.
I love it.
I'm excited to tell you guys who I've talked to.
Yeah,
I was actually gonna try to lead you into that, but you just roll, just go.
Keep it going, man.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'll tell the Dwight Howard story first. So obviously, here's another story. So I don't know if you guys remember the Petries who
the
Kings.
Of course.
GM.
So the son's wife. I'm trying to think of like how this related. The son's wife was my first grade teacher, and that was our family friend. And so we went to the Magic Kings game, and this was in 2010 maybe. And
The Magic were nice.
They were nice. Well, that's when they had like Jamie Redick, Ryan Anderson, like Turkaloo,
Rashad Lewis.
I think Vince Carter was on that team too. I'm pretty sure.
Rafer Austin was on that team.
So
Knowledge.
They gave us their tickets for that night, and so we got to go. And unironically, I know Tommy's gonna love this.
Oh, here we go.
They had a Ryan Anderson meet and greet after the game. And so we ended up going.
Oak Ridge stand up.
Me and my family ended up going. And so we meet Ryan Anderson. They're the funniest picture in the whole wide world. And my friends still laugh at this. My mom like didn't know any of the players, but she wanted to get pictures. My mom has a picture with Gilbert Arenas when it was like a few weeks after his gun charge when he got like caught the gun in the locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. But anyways, so like I was set on meeting Dwight Howard. I had a Dwight Howard jersey, whatever. And I'm like saying, so if you guys remember Arco Arena, like I was on the very like end of the court. Like, so think about on the visitors bench and like Dwight Howard signed autographs on the other side. And I'm like, oh, Dwight Howard's never come over here. He's not. And I kind of like give up. And I guess Dwight Howard's agent was standing next to me and ushered Dwight to come over to meet me. And so I got to meet Dwight Howard, and it's like literally the coolest. I got an autograph, and I was like over the moon because I was one of my favorite player of all time. So
I mean, you're just always right next to the right.
Yeah, right
people.
in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that we have a bigger Kings fan on the podcast right now.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
He's a bigger Kings fan than me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Jared,
absolutely.
no. Jared, don't be stupid. Now you're really gonna piss me off. No disrespect to Cam, but like it's like
Cam, that was a direct shot. That was a direct shot, Cam.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's
See,
how
the one thing I will say is now Cam covers the team though, so Cam.
Yeah, I've shied away from my fandom. I know.
Gotta let it go now.
So I know you kind of mentioned it, but I've got to talk to some very, very cool people. Now that I'm a journalist. The most notable that you guys would probably know is Woj. I mean, Woj is the guy.
Yes.
I reached out to him. I said, hey, like, would love to connect and like pick your brain. And he ended up calling me, and I was playing Call of Duty. And I'm like, I saw a New Jersey number call me. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just pick this up. And I'm like, hello. He's like, hey, Cameron, this is Adrian Wojnarowski. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna quit this game right now. Let's talk.
It's like, all right, boys, I gotta go.
So we end up talking for like
Woj is on the phone.
We end up talking for like 35 minutes, and he was literally the most down-to-earth, coolest person I've ever met. Just so helpful, so insightful, and the best piece of advice he gave me was you just always show up and you always be around. It's something I've always preached. And I think it can go for anything. You just have to be around and be in the mix, and it's going to really help you out. And so, yeah, that was a really cool person to talk to. And yeah, it's probably one of my coolest experiences ever.
That's awesome.
That one was crazy. I think you either sent me the screenshot of that phone call, or I won't name drop him now because I know you probably want to say it, but the other guy you were on the phone with, you just sent me the screenshot, and I was like, there's no way this guy's talking to Woj right now.
Wait, does the guy start with an A, Tommy?
Yeah.
I've also talked to Adam Schefter, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So, I mean, he was nice. He left me a voicemail, which was pretty funny. I was eating canes, and I see this number. I'm like, I'm not going to answer this. Like, I don't know. I don't answer random phone calls. And he's like, hi, this is Adam Schefter trying to reach you. I'll give you a call back at a later time. And so I called him back right away. And yeah, he was really cool too. I mean, I've had a lot of really cool people I've talked to, and most journalists in this industry are really cool, and they just want to help out. So I think it's really cool to have those connections for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue those experiences. It's just going to help you down the road.
Yeah, 100%.
We talked about some of the stuff that's been really good and easy going and just happening naturally. What's probably the toughest obstacle that you've had to overcome?
I would say, like believing in myself and not giving up. I know that sounds so cliche but it's really true, because there are days where, you just don't want to do it anymore and you're just done. I know walk-ons experience the same thing, because, like you're grinding, you're trying to get a scholarship, you're trying to get a free education. And there's a lot of days, because I listened to the last podcast and just Kevin talking and how he earned a scholarship to Montana State, and how I go to Sac State. So I'm a big Sky guy. So I get it. And I think it's really cool. I mean, just as a walk-on, not everyone earns a scholarship, obviously, but everyone, they that's the end goal. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to be a walk-on, but at the same time, they want to progress in their career. And so I think the obstacle I've just faced is, is really just believing myself and knowing that, you can overcome anything no matter what happens. And yeah, I mean, I just think it's about not giving up for sure.
No, yeah, that's big time.
One thing I wanted to ask, and we'll kind of segue into a different conversation off of it, but we talked about a lot of like professional athletes and stuff and what made you want to get into sports journalism. Is there a moment or player in specifically like Sac area high school sports that stands out to you that was like, this is something I really love to do? And we'll kind of talk about more. We were talking before we got on here about like some players in the area, but for this question specifically, is there one moment or player that kind of sticks out?
Okay, here's the thing. So the first, it wasn't the first game I ever covered, but it's what got me my internship. And it was when Wood Creek played Oak Ridge High School. It was at Wood Creek. I was giving scores to Steven the boss. Because we had just connected earlier in the day. I was like, hey, I'm going to be at Wood Creek. I know you can't make it around. Like, I'll give you score updates. And like, that's the same day where he asked me to, if I want to intern with them. And I remember Ian Book was playing for Oak Ridge. And I just thought it was so cool that, hey, this quarterback is going to Notre Dame. Like, that's so cool. And I mean, I was 15 years old. I was kind of not starstruck, but it just was so cool to watch. And now it's like I've had a chance to cover so many people who've gone on to play high end Division I football or basketball or even make it to the professional ranks. So I would say that moment stands out because it just set the tone of, wow, like I get to cover guys who like make it to the next level and become really big. And obviously Ian Book is one of the best like players in Notre Dame football history, just because he's the winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history. And just to see him go from a high school football player who's playing across the street to, I mean, make it to the league I think that's just phenomenal. So I think that's what really sticks out for me for sure.
Ian wasn't the only NFL guy on the field that day. Kevin would have been catching his passes as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
To kind of change the question a little bit up. So again, back to kind of the message behind this podcast being a walk-on and everything. What would be your walk-on Sac area sports pick for someone that maybe doesn't get as much coverage that you think they deserve?
It's a pretty easy one for me. Call me a homer because I've been around him for a long time. I mean, went to the same high school, but for me, it's Cyril Roberts. He had a unique path where he wasn't really recruited out of high school. I mean, he's one of the best point guards I've ever seen, and I got to see him in practice every day. I mean, I got to be around him. Just such a good dude, just so down to earth. And so he went down to UC San Diego and redshirted his first year, and then he just completely took the conference by storm. He had like a 40+ point game in a conference tournament game. And so he really raised his stock, and then COVID hit, and then he transferred to Washington State, and then he transferred again to San Francisco. So he's one of the most underappreciated players I've ever seen. And I mean, anyone who's seen him play would know that just he's a special player.
Well, yeah, even that senior year, like when they were playing in the state championship game against Bishop Montgomery, like there were times when Ty was the best player on the floor with like 2 McDonald's Americans on the floor.
Ty is the reason why Wood Creek won the section championship.
100%. I was at that game at UOP.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Brown was in foul trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys don't know who Jordan Brown is, he was a McDonald's All-American who I went to high school with, and went to Nevada, then went to Arizona. Now I was at Louisiana. But I mean, Jordan was in major foul trouble the entire game. I think he picked up 3 fouls in the first like 10 minutes of the game. Yeah. And Ty took over. I think Ty had 21 points in that game and just led the charge. And Jordan, everyone remembers Jordan knocking down those free throws at the end of the game to win it. But people don't forget that Ty really just set the tone of the game. And he's a really underrated defender too. So he's a total package. And yeah, he embodies what I think this podcast is all about.
Shout out Shine Athletics.
Big shout out. I think I think we've all, Jared included, have had to guard Ty one-on-one and can definitely back all your reasoning up with just that right there.
Yeah. I gotta add Shine
flips.
Shine's a good dude, man. I mean, there's a lot of trainers in this game, and we'll talk about the whole topic of a story I've written. And I got to actually talk to Jared for, but I mean, Shine is just one of the most down to earth people who cares about his people he trains. And a lot of people get into training and a lot of people get into coaching for the wrong reasons, but obviously Shine does it for everything that it's supposed to be. So such a good guy, and I'm lucky to know him.
Big shout outs. All right,
Yeah,
so
big shout out.
And that's a great pick as well.
Yeah, huge pick.
I
Yeah, so
want
we
to
kind
hear
of
your
Ty is a
guys.
great
I
pick.
want to hear your guys's, because I know you guys have been around. I know me flipping the question back on you because I'm a journalist, but I'd love to hear what you guys think too, because I mean, I know Jared played in a different era, but I know Luke not era, but different
It's
time.
all right. I'm old, bro. It's all
Different
good.
era.
Yeah.
Different
era.
Back in my day, we played 3 out, 2 in.
On the milk carton.
707 boys.
But Luke and Tommy kind of played around the same time. So Luke, who's a guy that you would say like you guarded or you played against in Sacramento that you really just would embody who that pick would be?
Yeah, so this is someone, and I know Jared knows him. I'm not sure if Tommy knows him, and then you'll probably know him just based off of being around. Someone I played with that naturally was one of the most gifted athletes and like just felt the game so well, and he was a super down-to-earth kid, and I know he kind of bounced around a couple of schools after high school, but Keyshawn Bruno, who went to why am I blanking? But Burbank. He went to Burbank.
Yeah.
Burbank High School. But this guy, so I played with him, and like I've talked about how I was a little kid up until I was about 18 years old, but I played with him my sophomore year in high school, or in between my freshman and sophomore year, and we were throwing lobs to him, and it was like second nature to him. And he's just like, basically to me as a little freshman, that's what Giannis was like in the NBA. Like he just like ran down the floor like a gazelle,
And
like
just dunked everything,
bro. It was insane. And so I played with him a few times, and I'm pretty sure he got a little bit of coverage, but in terms of just like the way the game came to that kid, it was really impressive. So Keyshawn Bruno, that's my pick.
Jared, who's your guy?
That one's tough.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be cheesy, but it's probably our very own Luka Abdalovic.
Great pick.
I don't think I ever saw one clip of Luka Abdalovic in high school.
You probably, unless I produced it.
Yeah, exactly. And even when he like committed to school, I think like 90% of people had no idea. And yeah, and then now we look at this guy. I mean, he's not going to tell you, but I'll tell you, he's top 5 career 3-point percentage shooter in NCAA history. Best shooter I've ever seen. So, and works extremely hard. So that's my dog.
Interesting. All right, Tommy, let's hear yours, because you're kind of more you're the youngest out of all of us.
Yeah, I really have to think about this one. I mean, we played against I'm fumbling right now. There's just so many guys that I can think of. I think I'm gonna be a little homer, and I don't know. You guys might be surprised by this one, but I played with him my junior summer, and he does all the little things, all the right things, and I'm super happy for him where he's going to college now, and I know he's worked super hard to get there. But my guy Cameron Wall,
I like it.
Cam Wall.
Cam Wall is a dog, and I don't know that a lot of people know that about Cam, but shout out to Cam. I know Cam is going to listen to this. I hope he listens to this well, at least. And went to FLC, and now he's at Hawaii Hilo, and he worked super hard to get where he is. And
yeah.
Good.
I know Jared. Jared had
kid,
Jared Wall, his older brother. Everybody knew who Jared was, and Cam playing for his dad, and then he's got his older brother. Just a lot of things going into it. Cam was actually really nice. And I don't think
Jared is the Draymond Green of high school basketball.
Wow,
like he's
that's a good.
he literally he's the most hated player if you play against him. But if he's on your team, you love having him on your team. I mean,
that's because you don't have to play against him.
You know what's funny, Cam, is I actually really didn't like Cam until we played together my junior summer, and then I was like, and then we played together and we played a lot and we played really well alongside each other, and I was like, you know what, like Cam is actually good and he's actually a cool guy, and now I can respect how much he flops during a game. Sorry, Cam.
Exactly. No, Jared is literally like the Draymond Green of high school basketball. Like I remember watching him play. I mean, a lot of people remember Ford and those guys from Folsom, but Jared is literally the most underrated player. Like one of the most underrated players I've seen.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Alec
I've seen-
Andrews as well.
Alec Andrews.
Yeah,
I've seen some
gluten-free.
crazy stuff from Jared Wall over the years.
I've been a part of some crazy stuff with Jared Wall.
Yeah.
There's
yeah,
so many other
exactly.
guys. There's so many other guys too that I would love to pick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like I think Cam was a good one.
definitely.
no, I like that. No, that was good. And
Oakridge's
I
finest,
mean,
Drake Middleton. He gets my shout out.
I was waiting for it. I
Young Draco.
Yes, sir.
was waiting
Yeah.
for it.
Cam saw Drake play a few
Drake
times.
was SFL MVP. I'm pretty sure. I think it was your junior year.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
That was really
Yeah.
impressive because we were like 4th in league and he still won MVP. So I don't really know how he pulled that off, but
I remember
because he's
I
young
remember
Draco.
I remember covering him. He's good.
yeah, he had 30 against Folsom when we lost to the buzzer beater and he punted the ball across the floor. If anyone remembers
Oh,
that.
that sounds pretty on brand for Drake.
Yes.
Love the kid.
Hey, so Cameron, tell us a little bit about this article you're writing and
Yeah,
getting
cool.
prepped.
Well, Jared, you should know about it too because I interviewed you for it.
Yeah,
we
but
can-
come
we
on,
can
it's your
shameless
article.
plug.
It's not, not me. I didn't do the article. Let's hear what you had to say.
So I love doing investigative journalism where you kind of look into an issue that's going on and you kind of find out, why it's going on. And so I started really researching for the story in February. For those who, this podcast will come out probably by the time the story's out. I wrote about why Sacramento area basketball players, high school basketball players rather, are leaving the area to go down to Southern California and Public Prep and other places that are not Sacramento. And I've had a chance to talk to about 10 people for it. I talked to Coleman Hawkins and Jared McCain, 2 guys who had left the area, Jared left when he was in 8th grade or going into 8th grade. And also Coleman left his junior or after or before his junior year of high school. So he played 2 years at Public Prep. Jared McCain is at Centennial High School in Southern California. They won the Open Division State Championship. Jared McCain's going to Duke. Coleman's going to Illinois. And just the question that a lot of people want answered is, could these kids have gotten this attention if they stayed in Sacramento? And honestly, after talking to a lot of people, I think the answer is no. And it's a really sad reality because Sacramento is a good place. We have an NBA team. We have the Kings. And I know people like to make fun of the Kings, but it's still an NBA team. There's only 30 cities in the whole entire world that have an NBA team, and Sacramento is one of them. And so it's really, I don't know what the problem is. I know it's exposure, and that's what a lot of kids say, but I think there is a deeper meaning of why kids are leaving. And honestly, after talking to all these people, I really don't know why. And I think people do know why, but I think it goes beyond just the exposure. And I think a lot of people, I think Jared said this, is if you're a good player in Sacramento, it's kind of expected, like Sacramento isn't a huge demographic, but if you go down to Southern California and you're the best player, then it means something and people pay more attention. And I think it goes to media and maybe even scouts, and also to people who do the high school rankings of like top players and player rankings. If someone sees someone in Southern California who's dominating, they're more likely to rank him over someone who's in Sacramento who's dominating as well. So
That was a great rundown. Jared, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think he's like on target, and again, he's done a really good job and done a due diligence of hitting like all different avenues as far as for opinions. But yeah, I just think the toughest part is being able to get the exposure, but also like get the respect, and like the pedigree and Sac just isn't there because just not as many good players or good teams. So it's hard to for that to validate yourselves,
Well,
but there
if you
has
look
been
at the
really
high
good
school-
players that have been here. So
Well, if you look at the high school rankings, like the top 50 teams in the nation, most of them, not most of them, I would say, but a majority of them are from Southern California. Sierra Canyon, Modern Day, Centennial, and I know this is more football too, but like St. John Bosco, they're a powerhouse in football. They're the first or the second best team in the nation. And I don't think it's happening in football because I think Sacramento has enough good football teams. And also, I don't think it's happening in girls basketball either because there's enough girls basketball teams that are really good. You have St. Mary's of Stockton, you have Folsom. So there's no reason to leave. So
yeah, there's just no premier high school program that's going to be able to help the talent or push the talent to that next level.
yeah, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to high school coaches buying in more and also helping out their kids. There are good high school coaches around here. I mean, I've gotten to know a lot of them over the years. But I mean, think about it. I mean, high school coaches, I mean, they have a day job. Most high school basketball coaches are teachers at the school. I mean, when you're an AAU coach, I mean, yeah, you have a day job, but like I think you're more dedicated to helping out your kids because you handpick the kids who are going to play for you in AAU basketball. You don't handpick the kids in high school. I mean, kids transfer in, but I mean, it'd be a whole different scene if AAU basketball was like high school basketball where you have to pick who's on your team. I mean, there'd be some powerhouses and that does happen because people do transfer in, but the transfer that goes on in Sacramento, it's like it's night and day to what goes on in Southern California. I mean, kids transfer all the time. I mean, there's instances where a kid in Southern California will go transfer from school A to school B for high school football, and then they'll go transfer back from B to A for basketball. I mean, it seriously happens. It sounds outrageous, but it does happen on that scale.
I'm very excited to read this. So hopefully,
we'll be looking forward to it. Sac be elite.
And the thing is in a story in any capacity, it only works if people talk. I mean, if you have an instance where, you know, there's an idea that's going on or something that's happening, I mean, it only works if people want to talk about it. If people go hush hush about it, then, you know, it doesn't work. And I reached out to Prolific Prep, not to name drop, but I tried to reach out to them to see what they wanted to say about it, and they didn't reply. So, and that just happens. And, you know, it happens in journalism. And if they didn't want, or they actually said they didn't want to go on the record, but, you know, it happens. And that story was fine without them because, you know, it wasn't about them. It's about Sacramento kids. But I did want to hear their perspective of the appeal of going to Prolific Prep because, you know, let's be real, a lot of those kids, I mean, they go to a small high school in Napa. It's called Napa Christian College. It's adjacent to the high school practice gym. The school at Napa Christian is extremely small. It's very small. And I think it has an enrollment of, I don't even think 100 kids. And the thing is a lot of those kids at Prolific Prep, they do online classes. And what's a problem too is some kids who go the prep school route are going back to public school. And there's somewhat of an education gap. And that's what one of the high school coaches brought up is how can a kid who transfers his sophomore year of high school and goes to the prep school and then comes back a year later, how is he not eligible, but how is he able to graduate when the high school curriculum is very strict in California. It's very set. Like you have to have certain requirements. And so if you're not getting that when you go to this prep school, I mean, let's be real. I mean, when you go to a prep school, you have an idea if you want to either go play high-end college basketball or you want to go to the NBA or you want to play professionally in some way. And so I know school doesn't matter, but I do admire the kids who take school very seriously. I mean, there's a lot of athletes who have above 4.0 GPAs. And I think that's incredible. But a question that high school coaches are asking, though, is how is this possible? And honestly, I don't know.
Man, I like you. It's easy just to sit here and listen to talk to you or have you talk about it. It's very easy, but we do have to get into our
learning
five,
so much.
Unfortunately, yeah, there are a lot of great stories. I think this is just obvious that we might need a part 2 with Cameron, but yeah, we do got to get into our starting fives here.
I got one more question. Quick one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your best advice to a young writer, Cameron?
Well, that's a great question.
Doesn't have to be a long answer, just be a quick one.
Yeah, I would just say, you know, make connections with people, reach out to people and get to know. And I think when you're starting out, people have aspirations of covering the NBA or covering the NFL, whatever you're really passionate about. It could be college basketball, whatever. You can't start at the top. I mean, you have to work your way up. And I know it's a slow grind, but I would just say if you really are passionate about it, stick with it, get to know people, talk to people. People want to help. And yeah, I would just say, you know, at the end of the day, there's a whole group of people who want to help and want to support you. So that's the best advice I would give.
Dang.
Well said. So this week for our starting five, we have media members. Now this can go from announcers to journalists, whatever it is across all sports. Quick.
Before we begin, Luke, do you want to get your game off?
No, I mean, I'm gonna keep it short. For the people on Instagram who are voting, this isn't a top 5. All right, people were grilling me for having Kadarius Toney at 1. Like that wasn't. I wasn't saying he was the number 1 wide receiver. He was my point guard, but it's cool. So for people voting, this is not top 5. It's our starting 5 on the court. All right, so Tommy
make sure the graphics reflect that.
Yeah, no, and it's a learning experience for all of us. But Tommy did sweep the competition. So you want to kick us off, man?
Yeah,
that's because Tommy's starting 5 was like a top 5,
which I'm not mad at. But let's go. Come on.
I mean,
he won.
My starting 5 was the best starting 5. My walk-on pick was the best walk-on pick. You guys can be mad,
bro. Just let's hear your list, dude.
Seriously,
go, Tommy. Come on.
Media personalities at the 1. A real vocal guy. He's loud. He's gonna run the show. He's gonna take care of business. Give me Gus Johnson.
Oh what?
Cam's pissed. I bet he was on Cam's list. You guys know who Gus Johnson is? Tell me you know who Gus.
No, I know.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna need to go watch some Gus Johnson YouTube videos.
Tommy, you stole my pick.
Best announcer in the game. At the 2.
What sport does he do?
He does football. He does basketball.
He did a lot of old college basketball on CBS. Like if you remember Isaiah Thomas's game winner in the Pac 10 championship.
Okay.
He's got the voice. Once you hear his voice, you'll know. Anyway, at the 2, the funniest guy in media, Stephen A. Smith.
Oh my God.
We've seen his jumper.
Yo, this is worse than Luke's Kings picks.
What?
That's saying a lot coming from Jake.
I got the 3 at the 3. I mean, I need a big shot, and who better than to hit a big shot? Mike Breen. Give me Mike Breen at the 3.
I like it. I like that a lot.
At the 4, he brings height to the table. We need height. ESPN's truly Scott Van Pelt, SVP.
Wow, great pick.
Oh, great.
I love it.
6'6", if you guys did not know.
That's a
and
great
then
pick.
at the 5, I went with my athlete, yours truly, Beaumont, Texas, Kendrick Perkins. He's also one of the funniest media right now.
So bad. Dude, bro. Oh my God, just because he was a hooper, the media presence. So, oh man. All right, Tom. Hey, I like the 5. Good variety, good versatility. All right, so I'm really proud of mine. I'm gonna roll with it if we don't mind. So
go ahead, Luke.
At the 1, kind of similar reasoning for Tommy. Someone that's really gonna set the table for the rest of our team, voice wise. Let's go, Jim Nantz at the 1. Talk about someone who goes Final Four to the Masters. That's man. He doesn't get much better than that. Jim Nantz at the 1.
That's elite transition.
You better have his backcourt.
Great hair too. Great hair.
Man. So at the 2, we're gonna roll with Michael Wilbon. I don't know. I don't think this is gonna be a popular pick, but
I was thinking about him.
When I used to come home from school, PTI was always on at that time. And, I'll just be tuned into my man, Michael Wilbon. So, boom, Michael Wilbon at the 2.
No,
at
Tony?
the 3, no, more of a Wilbon guy. But at the 3, this is my player pick. One of my favorite players of all time. We're going JJ Redick. He's killing it right now in the media. And that's going to be majority.
That's Luke. Luke wants to be his doppelganger is why.
Exactly. So I had to. It wouldn't be doing justice.
He didn't classify Duncan Robinson as media with the podcast.
Yeah.
I could have. Anyways, so at the 4, and this was my kind of, I say it's a former player. I have Doris Burke at the 4.
Wow.
Come on, give me Doris Burke at the 4. Give me Doris Burke at the 4.
This is wild.
That's a great pick.
Bro, she's got a game. Who's playing the center position?
So this is size-wise, it's all off. But in terms of impact in the media game, we already talked about him. I have Woj. I have Adrian Wojnarowski at the 5.
Ooh.
Woj, bomb. Think about him protecting the paint. Come on. Jared, you're
right, Jared.
To follow that one.
Oh, no, mine's much better than that. Even though I won't lie, okay? We had a couple of the sames, but I had some backups just in case.
Okay. I like that, though.
Yeah. So at my point guard, I'm kind of on Luke's same level. PTI is my favorite show. So I'm going Tony Kornheiser at the 1.
Okay.
Tony Kornheiser. Great show. Yeah. Emmy award-winning show. So at the shooting guard, probably one of the most iconic, one of the funniest. We got Stuart Scott.
Goat. Great pick.
Yeah. Okay.
Great pick.
Then, again, I had to mix it up a little bit. I had a couple backups. At the small forward, I have Shams Charina. Up and coming. Yes, sir. At the 4, power forward, like I said, we had to get a little bit more muscle out there. I got Adam Schefter.
He's 5'8". I looked it up earlier.
Okay.
And this is my player pick. At center, we got my main man Chuck, Big Charles Barkley.
Okay.
That's a good pick.
Man,
That's a good one.
Those are some good picks, and I'm kind of bummed I went last because a lot of them got taken. I mean, I kind of switched up. I mean, my sleeper pick I ended up switching up because someone mentioned I thought I was going to totally get someone, but
Gus Johnson was your sleeper pick, wasn't he?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So my point guard, the biggest sport in America is football, and the guy who covers the league the most is Adam Schefter. So that's my one. My 2 guard, he's a facilitator. He's gonna shoot a little bit. He's gonna drop some bombs. So I got Adrian Wojnarowski at the 2. My player pick at the 3. I'm kind of bummed someone stole it with JJ Redick. I mean, I was a Magic fan too growing up, so I liked it. My power forward, Mr. NBA himself, Mike Breen. And then I'm so glad no one stole this pick. My man in the middle, a huge reason why I got into sports media, Dick Vitale at the 5.
I like it.
I like it.
Love
Really
it. It's
swooped-
nice.
You really swooped Cam's picks. I feel like
I know. I wish I would have gone first because then I could have said
Yeah, drop the knowledge.
All right, you go first for walk-on pick then.
So I had Gus Johnson originally, but I'm gonna change it. This guy is one of the most underappreciated people. Oh, actually, he's not underappreciated, but I mean, he's the GOAT. And I know it may not fit the description of the 6th man, but I got to go with John Madden. I mean, he's the GOAT.
Yeah, that's a nice walk on.
I do like
So,
John Madden.
Rep John Madden, man. He's a legend. I don't think people appreciate him enough because, I mean, he was an amazing coach and also an incredible commentator. And I just think a lot more people need to appreciate him. And I know my generation really didn't get to watch him commentate. I think one of his last games he covered or broadcast was the Cardinals Steelers Super Bowl. So that was one of the first football games I've watched. So I remember him. He's a GOAT. Rip. Yeah.
Great pick.
Nice.
All right, who wants it? Tommy, Jared.
Go ahead, LA.
All right.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I was scared Cam was gonna take mine. So this guy, as a Kings fan,
God, bro, I swear, if you say it, I'm like
Jerry Reynolds. Jerry Reynolds.
Okay,
That's my
okay. All right.
I thought you were gonna say Mark Jones, and I almost
Yeah, I
thought about
thought
him
that's
as my
smart,
6th man.
I was thinking worse than that, so I was getting ready to leave this guy.
Jerry Reynolds. There's not a Kings fan that doesn't love this guy.
I know
yeah,
exactly.
He was
who
a
Jared's thinking.
coach and a yeah, me too. I know exactly what he's thinking. He was a coach and a GM. Nope. See, let's just keep it pushing. That's why I took Jerry Reynolds. And
Good.
King of the corny
I like that.
announcing, but I love it.
That was a safe pick.
I had to get my
I like
Kings
that.
players in. Come on, man.
Yeah, every time, every list doesn't matter.
Jared.
Consistent.
My walk on is up and coming in the media game. I feel like he's misunderstood. I feel like he talks a lot very loudly, but there's some good stuff in there, even though he may not be getting as much traction. But I have Draymond Green as my walk-on pick.
The new media.
Yeah, new media.
Hey, I thought the rule where we can't pick a player for the 6th man. That's what Tommy said.
Oh,
Luke did say that.
oh, my bad. Okay, I can
it's
withdraw.
the same-
I will withdraw. the pick.
It's the same as putting Travis Kelce as a wide receiver.
Let's go. True fan of the pod.
Wow, there was a
Okay,
prep. There was a Luke Cameron
Oh,
prep
no.
before this started.
I would say, okay, here's the
It
thing.
really doesn't
Like
get better than that.
about that comparison, Kelce does play a lot of wide receiver because he
Boom.
does line up, but
Boom.
but he's listed as a tight end. That's the only thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Apples and oranges. All right. So I withdraw my player pick. I will go with Chris Haynes, up and coming
Good
NBA.
pick. Good
Okay,
pick.
I like that.
Yeah.
My walk-on pick is by far and away my favorite announcer in sports, the GOAT, underrated, Ian Eagle.
Ooh, that's a good one, man. I like.
He is so funny.
Him doing
Great.
March Madness game is pretty fun.
He's just great. He's so great. Not a lot of people talk about him. And I just feel like he's got a great jumper. And that's why we need him. Ian Eagle.
I like
This
this.
is this is gonna be a heated vote.
These are really interesting lists. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Great list though. Great list.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I think what I like about it is, like you got a little bit of everything, like you got play by play, you got new media, you got old media, you got old, you got young, and I think it's really unique for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really talented people in sports media. When I was putting together this list, I mean, like I said, Gus Johnson's gonna be my sleeper pick, but
I can't believe you guys don't know who Gus Johnson is.
It's literally, it was written down. So, and I was gonna go with Stuart Scott too, but then that was my
a good pick.
And then someone said that, so I had to go John Madden because I had a feeling no one's saying because he
You just gotta have some backups because you never know you never know what time Luke's on.
Yes, for real.
Anyways,
Jared, do you have any golf knowledge for us today?
Oh yeah, will help your game big time, Cameron.
Yeah,
50 chips a night.
I heard this last pod. Yeah,
it's every week.
It's really a staple in what we do
every
now.
week.
It's a big time thing.
It sucks because I had an opportunity for par today, and like I chipped it, went over the green, and I messed up.
Decelerated at the end there.
That's my problem because
Jared knows that so well.
Yep. Lots of practice decelerating.
Okay, what's your guys' best score out on the green?
Ooh, only ask Tommy.
I've never kept score. I've never kept score.
My best score is an 83.
Oh wow. Okay.
See, no, Luke's in the 70s.
It's not. No, I've hit 80 like 5 times.
I got one more thing for you guys. No, who's actually a very good golfer. Very good.
Who?
Keegan Murray.
Oh really?
Keegan Murray like shoots in the 70s. Like he's him.
There's some leather out there.
What I mean,
Luke loves the pick even more now.
I got to connect with his dad. Good guy. They like Sacramento a lot, but yeah, I was joking with him that he has to go to Topgolf, but then I was like, I realized like when he got on the broadcast, said like he shot under 70 twice. I was like, yeah, this guy's really good.
Oh.
So he's nasty.
Up and coming.
Yeah,
he's gonna be nice.
Yeah, he'll be in some Sacramento golf tournaments.
Yeah, Luke is actually really good.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah.
You've been giving me a lot of props today. This is. Are you okay over there? This doesn't seem very like you. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, you didn't drop your normal Kings nonsense, so it was all good.
There's no nonsense. It's just facts.
Yo, Cam, I think I speak for everyone when I say this has been just an absolutely entertaining episode. I really learned a lot.
I go all over the place, but that's
lots of knowledge.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. This was perfect. We can't thank you enough for coming on. We know how hard you work. I think you're perfect for what we are trying to build, and I think this was overall just really a perfect episode especially for our first non-athlete.
Yeah, 100%.
I appreciate you guys. I mean, it's an honor to be on, and like Tommy said, like me and Tommy go way back, but I mean, I'm connected with you guys now, and it's really cool, and I'm just honored to be the first non-athlete in the pod because like I'm more than an athlete,
Yeah, exactly.
Big time.
There we go.
Well, thank you everyone for listening in. This has been episode 6. We're really coming up the ranks. Excited for more. Lots more coming. This has been your favorite walk-ons. We're walking out.